YouTube? Crash Cadet KG here. Got my ZMR250 in the mail today from FPV Model. Now look, I've done a ton of research, and you know, it's not exactly the best reviewed almost ready to fly kit, but you know, I like the fact that everything I needed was in the box. I'm gonna break the crap out of this thing time and time again and figure out what I really want in a proper frame that I'm gonna build. And I figured it was a good platform to learn on. And anyway, I've watched pretty much all the build videos that are out there, and you know, read the blog posts and stuff. You know, I gotta say that today is December 12th, 2016. The kit I've got is different from what the folks, you know, a lot of folks have been reviewing. A couple of the key problems that were called out is, or I guess the big one is the camera's flat angle on the front end, and you know, I'm kind of worried about that a little bit. But I should highlight for you that in this version of the kit, the top plate now has these two places, two notches, two pairs of notches for the camera, right? So this is what I see in everybody else's videos. This is traditional sort of right angle mount, but I was dry fitting this a minute ago, and I found that works really well, actually, to kind of back mount it at, again, what is that, like 20 degrees or something like that. So it's very possible that that kind of big complaint from a lot of folks might be resolved in this particular build of the Carbon. You know, there's tons of videos out there on the pieces and the parts and such, so I don't necessarily feel like I need to do some kind of unboxing or, you know, go through all of the components. The camera that comes with it now is really nice. It's you know, it's a Sony 700 VTL sensor. I mean, it looks like at least from the specs, like it's going to be a really good camera. Another thing I thought I'd note as I'm starting to sit here and dry fit this together and look at it is, you know, the instructions are piss poor. There's an online sort of web page and a PDF that just looks like an export from it, and you've got to be honest, there's, you know, no mention of which screws to use where. Very sort of generalized description of what hooks up to what, and you know, no wiring schematic or anything along those lines as far as the support material goes. I think I'm a relatively intelligent monkey, and I'll be able to get it figured out. But you know, one thing to call out if you're starting out from scratch like I am, and you know, would feel a little more comfortable with a set of instructions, not any. Okay, so take that for what it's worth. I should mention, and I didn't before, a lot of people complained about the quality of the ESCs that came with the kits, you know, the videos that are available out there. These have little B 20 amps, which, you know, from what I read and hear, apparently some of the best that are out there right now. So, you know, that seems pretty good. I'm pretty excited about getting this thing together, and we'll see how far I can get on it tonight. Hopefully I can at least get the motors mounted and maybe a few of the joints soldered. Who knows? I might go all the way with it. Anyway, I guess I'll leave it there for now and kind of get my hands on it and pull the camera up if I notice anything interesting. Anyway, thanks for checking it out. Talk to you soon. A little while into it, I guess now, and got my first arm done. A couple more to go here with the ESCs, but yeah, I don't think I ruined it. Gives me confidence. I'm going to press on and get the rest of these done here. Alright, that I can live with. I'm not going to get a close-up of it, though. Alright, well, that, as they say, wow, what a mess. Just a few arms have got me here. Pretty much an hour, and my 4 motors and ESCs. Pretty excited about that. No reason why I can't mount those arms, I guess. Pretty awesome. I am, however, going to end it here, at least because I need to recharge the GoPro. Okay, cool. Pick it up in a bit. Alright, so day 2 of my ZMR250 build. And I got a fair amount done. Yesterday I got the motors mounted, ESCs soldered and put together and so on. And today I got it all mounted on the board and wired up. I gotta tell you, I'm really moved by the lack of good documentation from FPV Model. Their online build instructions leave a lot to be desired, quite frankly. Between the various versions that are out there and different revisions, the different flight controllers it's come with, and all the various build videos and blogs that are out there, it's a little difficult for a noob like myself, who's fairly intelligent, to kind of figure it all out. I think I've got it pretty well mapped out as far as how I'm going to be able to hook everything up. I'm complicating this for myself a tad because I'm trying to add this mini OSD to the build, which I guess shouldn't be that difficult, but again, there's really no PDB wiring diagram. There's fairly good documentation on the X-Racer flight controller, but just knowing exactly how that connects to the board, there's a few traces and pinouts that are kind of unlabeled, and I found actually a pretty good blog from Oscar Liang that kind of describes the layout of the board and everything. So I think I've got a good resource to do the actual wire up. But it's late, and I was up late last night, so I don't want to make any set in solder decisions without better rest. But I think I'm going to give a quick view of what I've done so far here. Well, my soldering skills probably leave a lot to be desired there, but all in all, I think a pretty tight build here. I mentioned before that that this new top plate has 2 possible mounting options for the FPV camera, and as I was looking through it last night, I found that to mount this guy in in that second option position, I'm gonna have to bend it way back, which is gonna cause these screws to actually make contact with the positive and negative pins, power supply pins for the pads for the ESCs. So I actually thought I'd protect myself with a little bit of heat shrink covering those, and I've test fitted it a few times, and I think I'm gonna be good on clearance. and that should protect me from any actual contact. I also discovered the existence of something called liquid electrical tape, which I think I'm going to coat the back of this board with before I actually do any mounting. Let's see what else to mention. The Ohmway 5.8 gigahertz transmitter like takes the cake for worst documentation of the bunch. Almost no documentation's almost better than what came with that. In any event, I think I've got it all kind of planned out here now that I've got a really sharp diagram, again thanks to OscarLiang.com, for how this should be hooked up. Interesting thing to note, when I was gonna build out the XT60 connector that comes unsoldered to the bare wires, I actually pulled a pretty stupid maneuver. For some reason I had it something plugged into the battery, and I went to cut both wires at the same time like a dumbass and saw a big blue spark. And quite frankly, I think I've ruined my my battery, because my balance charger doesn't read it now. It gives it an error, like a temperature error. I'm not noticing any puffiness in the battery or anything along those lines, but if the charger won't read it, I bet there's something wrong with it. Any event, got plenty more, so won't do that again. Okay, so I guess I just wanted to make a quick little update and shoot at least some film on this stage of the build. I thought it was kind of tight to wire wrap the whole, or to heat shrink the whole arm in this clear heat shrink, and it turned out pretty well. It's holding everything down real nice, and like I said, I'm proud of how tight this build looks for a first time. We'll wait and see what happens when I get the flight controller and OSD camera receivers, receiver and transmitter mounted up here. So I thought I would try and get a couple of shots of this alternative camera mount again, since I haven't seen any videos or documentation out there showing the additional slots in this build. Hopefully you can see, this comes out, how I have this mounted here. So there's these two pairs of slots, presumably being optional, an optional way to mount this. And you can see it's pretty darn close down there on that little connector, but it's not flexing it any. Maybe a crash might not be the best scenario, but I plan on destroying this thing a few times anyway, so we'll see. Here's a shot from this angle. You can see how, without cutting the ends of the screws off and heat shrinking those, there'd definitely be contact there. My thought was, for my final mounting, I might put some electrical tape over those contacts, just to make sure vibration doesn't wear through the heat shrink there. Maybe a piece of foam under those, or something like that might be useful as well. Please don't bash me for the terrible solder joints there. Self-conscious about that. Also, you may have noticed that I mounted the screws the way I mounted the arm screws there. You know, don't know if that's good or bad, but my thought process on that was I'd rather have everything on the bottom flush, and they all seem to be a little bit different. It wasn't sitting quite level, and I thought, you know, those screws would have a higher tendency to snag something and grind on the ground. I don't know. So I just mounted it that way. I'm sure that's just a preference issue. But yeah, you can see there that you know, that mounting option gives a pretty good angle on the on the camera. Not sure what it looks like because I haven't powered any of this on yet, but hopefully that works. Okay. Alright, so quick little update here. I got the machine almost all built last night. Started wiring up the motors and the OSD and the power to the flight controller. I've said it a few times, I'm not necessarily proud of the quality of all the solder joints that I'm making, but I'm definitely getting better at that. So that's positive, I suppose. I got it all done, you know. I got my VTX and my receiver mounted. I think I did a really tight job of getting the flight controller wired up. I'll get a shot of that here real quick. Looks, you know, like I said, some of the solders are cold, but everything tests pretty well. I couldn't find a short in any of the system, but last night about midnight when I powered the thing up, I got a tiny little puff of smoke, and let's see if I can get this. To add some light to the mix here. I don't know how visible this is, but there's a little tiny diode there that is just fried. Doing a ton of research, can't find out what it is, what it does, or what might cause that to have smoked. But yeah, I had it all wired up. I plugged the USB into the controller, and no lights or anything, just a little puff. So yeah, and I've been over this board a few times, and I haven't found anything that that indicates a short anywhere from any of the wiring on the flight controller. I haven't plugged in the LiPo. I don't think I should at this point, knowing that there's a fault on the flight controller. It's definitely disheartening, because I thought I was already there. So yeah, I ordered a new flight controller because you know, that's all I know to do. But I'm gonna keep trying to search and see if I can find a way to potentially fix this. I'm not opposed to trying to solder a new diode on there. But yeah, I think it's odd. From everything I'm finding online, or a lot of what I'm finding online, folks are saying when they plug their LiPo in is when, you know, things go bad. I thought it was odd that it happened when I connected USB to program the flight controller for S-Bus before powering on the system for the first time. I guess I should be grateful my USB port on my Mac is still working. But yeah, The saddest little puff of smoke just came out from the bottom of this thing. Very anticlimactic. Like, I'm really, really bummed. I thought I had this done. It solved a lot of the problems. Got over my confusion on how to wire the flight controller and the OSD and the camera and the receiver and the VTX, and it all just kind of flowed last night. And it's all done right as far as I can tell. But yeah, no dice. I think I fried the flight controller. I'm bummed. Anyway, not sure how to move forward with this, quite honestly. You know, if something on the PDB or the wiring of the motors or receiver or whatnot, caused that. I mean, the same thing is going to happen to the next flight controller I plug in. So I'm at a little bit of an impasse. I guess I'm going to get online, start doing some reading, and see if I can find anything that might help me figure out the best way to troubleshoot this. Anyway, Crash Cadet. It's crashing and burning. I haven't even gotten in the air. Well, what do you know? There is a short. Which means if I had hooked this battery up, I probably would have fried all of my ESCs and motors. Yeah, there's a drop of. So it's a good thing I didn't, I suppose. I think I can keep from hitting this this camera now as I lean in to inspect things. Hopefully, anyway. So I'm not flying anywhere, and I wonder if that short, actually maybe the short that I'm detecting now is because that diode is fried. Alright, I need to plug my soldering iron in and get that VBAT disconnected from the flight controller and see if there's still a short on the board. Alright, so I've disconnected the VBAT pins. They were causing the short, or what I just discovered as a short. I can prove. Alright, there's no continuity issues now, right? So I just tried plugging this in through USB to the computer, no dice. Didn't power on the board. I'm gonna try, because, screw it at this point. The worst that can happen is it can all blow up. I'm gonna try powering the bird with an LiPo and see what happens. Okay. I'm gonna guess that's bad. Probably means flight controller's fried. But PDB is showing power. Motors all just spun a little bit. Let me try that again. Yeah. I was gonna say good news, but this damn beeper keeps going. I powered it on, connected it to clean flight, and it showed up, and I could control the motors, and it was receiving, accelerometer telemetry, and it was working. I went in and switched failsafe off, and so and this beeping stopped, and I'm wondering if that's just beeping because there's not a receiver connected. So I'm gonna hook that bad boy up and see what happens. And antenna connected. Yeah, okay. Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, I mean, that's gotta mean something, right? But I don't know what it is. Power's coming to just about everything. I might bring the computer over here to the bench and turn this beeper off so I can play with it, see if maybe the camera VTX works, all that, because the motors are controlled by the flight controller. So this might just be something I don't know about bringing up a quad, and maybe, you know, I mean, clearly the way I had VBAT wired was what caused something to short, but we'll well, we'll see here in a little bit. So after much trial and error, I discovered that these two little lines I was using for the VBAT connection from my PDB to the flight controller was creating an overall PDB board short. I don't know why, don't know what it means. It contributed to whatever the diode was that fried on my flight controller. But that said, it when I powered on the copter with the flight battery on it, it powered up. Gave the no receiver buzzer and so on. I plugged it in to the USB, and sure enough, Clean Flight recognized it right away. I was able to configure it, and I actually spent the last hour or two kind of setting up my controller and all that stuff. I mean, it genuinely looks right. I got the motors wired right. They spin up and work correctly. All my controller channels are set. And this little bad boy is, I think, genuinely ready for a test flight. Now, I gotta fly it knowing that there's something fried on the flight controller. Yeah. Arm it here, and you can see I got my motor spinning, and they respond. So I genuinely am not sure what the challenge was, or what's not working. I guess the board still won't accept power from the computer. So I guess if you try and power it over USB, that's still not functioning. So I got another flight controller on order anyway, and I maybe need to figure out a better way to hook up VBAT or not. I'm not sure. But I'm giddy and I'm anxious, and I want to fly this thing. So I'm going to put some propellers on it and take it out in the backyard and do a couple of small hovers and see what I can get out of it. Right. So I'm going to throw the GoPro on here, because I'm sure I'm going to be crashing it into the fence. Hopefully not the house. Maybe we won't crash at all. Who knows? Alright. See you afterwards. After the maiden flight. I think I'm actually going to get to fly this thing FPV today. I saw all kinds of smoke come out of my FPV camera the other day, and it has something to do with that crazy angle that I had the camera at. It just every time I pushed it back at that angle, the camera board started smoking. So now I got it mounted horizontal, but as you can see, it doesn't fit. It's freaking weird. I also found, I think, a pretty clever solution to the whole camera poking out the front thing. I took one of these foam pads that I got from my controller, made the hole a little bigger, and mounted it around the camera. It's pretty high density foam. Hopefully it'll protect the lens from an impact. Anyway, I'm gonna go fly this sucker. So, maiden flight, I'll call it pre-maiden flight, successful. The bird flies. I don't have enough room in my tiny backyard to do a proper maiden. So, you know, it flies. That to me, huge, huge success, considering my frustration, confusion, challenges, and troubleshooting during the build. So I think I'm going to find a proper location and make a nice, well, do my best to make a nice proper maiden flight video. So I guess this is my build, my trials, my tribulations. I'll probably end the build video there. All in, ton of fun putting this thing together and playing with it and learning a lot on it. Documentation issues aside, the slight manufacturing issues, I'm happy I started with this kit. It did give me everything I needed to get it up in the air and to practice on, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go find an open field where I can really crash the hell out of this thing. All right, so Crash Cadet KG saying mission success, ZMR250, my first build ever built, and the bird is in the air. So next one will be a proper maiden flight. Thanks for watching.